And welcome back. And so we have two very special guests, and we're dealing with training and the launch of the opening of the office for national training. All right, and to speak to this is Dr. Patrice Paris, and she's CEO of the National Training Agency. With her is Mr. Curtis Floyd, and he's Executive Director. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Good morning, and thank you.
Very good. Let's talk about, what is the National Training Agency responsible for? When we say training, what do we speak to?
Right, so the National Training Agency is an organization under the Ministry of Education. Our main purpose is to strengthen all things related to skills development and workforce. So we look at the training that is being done in different stakeholders and ensuring that the quality is of standard. We also work with industry persons to figure out exactly what the industry needs are and make sure that that is matched to what is actually being delivered in the training institutions. We also engage in apprenticeship and what we call prior learning assessment and recognition, which simply means that if it is a stakeholder has competencies in any vocational area and don't have the credentials, the actual paper, they can come to the National Training Agency, we'll put them through an assessment, and then they will get the award.
The paper?
Yes.
All right, so we'll come to that a little bit. All right, so Mr. Curtis Floyd, the launch of this office in Tobago, there's never been one in Tobago before, and why is it necessary to have one here now?
Well, actually, we have been in Tobago on previous occasions. The Accreditation Council would have started its operations in Trinidad in 2005, and we began our operations here in Tobago in 2006. And we operated straight through to 2020, operating at 3 different locations. So this would be actually our 4th location here in Trinidad, in Tobago.
Very good. All right. So, so an individual comes out of secondary schools, school. They have their 5 subjects, and they want to be, or they're applying for a job or a position. They are waiting. The position is theirs, however, they are not equipped with the skills necessary to carry out the duties that they are hired for. They're bright like bulb, but however, when you put them to do the job, they have no experience, no skills. How do you assist an individual in that regard?
So we have been advocating over the last few years for the dual system of training and development, and that is hinged on apprenticeship. So as many of our stakeholders as possible, we encourage them to say, look, there's going to be a period when you spend in the classroom learning the theories and the models and whatnot, and there must be some intervention within the workspace where the individual student has an opportunity to see their craft and demonstrate and practice and make mistakes under the guidance of trained and experienced practitioners. So that's the National Training Agency's model. We are saying the way to fix that is by having an apprenticeship, collaborative experience between training providers and industry representatives. So when you come there, then everybody wins. All
right, training providers, so let's talk to that. All right, you mentioned earlier that individuals may take courses leading up to practice what the courses may have guided them. However, when they apply for the job, they have no certification because where they have learned their skill may not have been accredited. So how do you assist an individual in that case? Right,
so the arrangement that we have for NTA, we advocate competence-based training and assessment. So if it is that we know that you come and you put yourself forward to say, I have done this course, I have practiced in the field, and I want to be assessed, we put you through the rigors of whether it's through simulations, whether it is through the compilation of a portfolio. So we say, bring us evidence of what you have done, get testimonials from persons who might have worked with you or who have used your products and are satisfied. And we have what we call external verifiers who will now come and look at the entire range of things that you have presented to us and make a judgment to say whether you are in fact competent or not yet competent.
All right, so the employer would rely on the agency, your agency, training agency, to see, okay, we have done the tests, we have walked him through or walked her through, and then now this person is recommended the final paper from the training agency. Mr. Floyd, would you want to respond to that? How do you, what satisfaction does the person who is trained after leaving the training for the workplace, do you recommend? Do you say, okay, fine, yes, though he has no certificate, we have found that this guy is competent and capable of doing the job because he has no paper, as you just explained. What do you do in that regard?
Well, this is a matter that will really be handled by the National Training Agency because they will be focusing on skills. Mm-hmm. And as Dr. Sills was indicating previously, they would be exposed to the rigor of some evaluation and have to provide some evidence of what the skills would be required for the respective jobs. At the ACTT, what we do, we would be looking at the quality of post-secondary and tertiary education institutions as well as the programs that they offer. And we too put them through a very rigorous process through registration, which is mandatory by law. Institutions offering post-secondary and tertiary education must be registered with the Accreditation Council. Otherwise, they would be deemed to be operating illegally. Mm. And of course, there are ramifications to that. And we also expose institutions to institutional accreditation, which is voluntary. And again, it's a very, very rigorous process that the institutions undergo to prove their worth of offering quality programs to the members of the public. Mm-hmm. So currently in Tobago, we have 9 institutions that fall within the category. 7 of them are accredited institutions. The indigenous one here, of course, is the Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute. Mm-hmm. And we have other institutions that from Trinidad that have sites here. And we also have 2 institutions that are registered currently, mm-hmm. operating in Tobago. You want to add to that, Doc?
Yes, so I would just want to, in terms of your specific question, as how an employer will be confident. Mm-hmm. Because we are not experts in all the vocational areas, we really rely on industry members to come up with our standards. Mm-hmm. So you will have a group of practitioners who will come to say what holds true in Tobago's context or what holds true across the national space. So if it is that you in fact want to be a qualified welder, what exactly would you have to show mastery in? Mm-hmm. And the industry sets that. So when the verifiers go out to validate the person who is putting forward themselves for the certification, they are benchmarking them against what the industry would have already endorsed mm-hmm. and articulated as in this is what we need for a welder, a fabricator, a cosmetologist. They would have already, the industry, the group of employees would have already specified that. So we are just the gatekeepers to make sure that what they requested, they're in fact getting at the end of the training program.
All right, so your training agency will outsource in the event that you need to do so? That's what you're saying? Yes. All right, let's go now to entrepreneurs, people who want to do their own business. Some of them doing fine, they are hairdressers, they are, you name them, and they're out there and they're just going to work every day, not keeping books, don't know how to keep books. At the end of the day, they end up, sometimes at the end of the month, they're broke because they just utilize, they don't know profit from capital, and is there. So let's go there. For those little businesses that are struggling to survive, if guided or got the right guidance or the right training, they will do well.
Agreed, most definitely. And so what the 2 agencies would have been collaborating on would have been a concept known as the National Qualification Framework. And built into that now, we are saying in order for you to be a recognized national qualification in Trinidad and Tobago, there are certain metrics that you have to match. Mm-hmm. One of which would be in terms of that those softer skills, so it's not very specific to any vocational area, but would lend itself for persons who might want to bridge out into independent mm-hmm. and autonomous work without having to look for wage employment. Mm-hmm. So we have been consistently advocating from both agencies that our stakeholders, our training providers and educational institutions need to build those things into the curricula from the get-go. I know that's an ambitious endeavor, but we have to start showing them and advocating for it to be done.
I'm going to ask, I'll come back to you now.
Sure.
Why is, your colleague mentioned something there that we spoke about with the pastor about including in the school curriculum the platform, I'm putting it differently now, the platform for life, in that you start in school with, let's say, hairdressing or whatever that the child is interested in. And so when they come out into the world of work, they are equipped with the necessary skill sets, the training that they would be better able to exist in the world of work. Just add to that, how do we get the school system or the education system to buy into what Dr. has just proposed?
Well, the fact of the matter is, we are preparing our citizens for employment and for functionality, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but
globally,
internationally, right? And we always hear that our citizens, wherever they go in the world, they excel. And they excel because of the foundation that they get here in Trinidad and Tobago. So yes, we have to support what Dr. Searles is saying in terms of inculcating into the curriculum these fundamental skills, knowledge, skills, attitudes that they would be requiring to be able to function effectively in society.
Excellent. All right. Is there anything else before we speak to the launch itself? When is that happening? Anything else you want to touch on, Doc? Because I like this conversation. I could go on and on, but I know that we have to speak about the launch. But anything else you want to add as to what you offer with this training agency?
Not really in terms of what I offer, but to do some advocating of my own. I feel that the conversation has to be widened beyond the administrators and the policymakers. I think parents and the citizens of the country have a responsibility as well. So when you know that your child is going into secondary school and you want them to get a craft, start demanding that they get a craft. Start making the utterances so that the momentum builds. Because sometimes it feels as if we are screaming in the wind, and then a principal will make a decision that is right for them based on available resources and based on ease of delivery. And we have to join our voices collectively together to say, look, each child leaving the secondary school system should come out with at least some craft. Whatever it is, but at least to give them an option when they leave for employability.
Excellent.
And I just want to add to that and piggyback on the advocacy of Dr. Searles as well for the Accreditation Council. Likewise, for students leaving secondary schools and interested in pursuing any sort of tertiary education, we always ask that they check ACTT first.
Okay.
Because we need to ensure that whatever institution you're intending to pursue your program at, that both the institution and the program are recognized.
Excellent. All right, so let's go now to the launch of this office in Tobago. Where is it? When is it launching? And how, well, we'll get into how people can be part of the training.
So the launch would have been yesterday, right? Through the gracious offer from the Chief Secretary. He would have found space for us in the THA's building, which is the Coliseum. Right?
Down at Canaan.
Yes,
compound.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we would have gotten some office space there. We have now moved in our staff from where their previous location. They are now there. So the launch would have been yesterday. It would have been well attended. The Minister of Education would have come up to support, because this aligns with the mandate of everyone for a strengthened workforce. Because a better workforce is a more productive economy. Right? So that we did have the support of both the Minister of Education, Dr. Leanne Gatsby-Dolly, and the Chief Secretary, the Honorable
Very
Chief
good.
Secretary.
All right, from here on in, launch, office is opened. What, how do we access? Do you have to apply? Do you have to apply online? Give us the social media platforms, if any, as to how one can access this service.
Well, at least for ACTT, I indicated that we would have been in operation here up to 2020, and the operations would have been thwarted a bit by the COVID-19. So we have our services currently online, and anyone wanting to access any of our services, registration, accreditation, recognition, and very important is the statement on recognition. They can go to our website, actt.org.tt, and all the information is there. But while we have all our services online, we are also here to provide that personal service face-to-face to entertain anyone from the member of the public who wants to walk in and have a discussion with us on the services.
So your doors are open
Yes.
for anyone to walk in as well?
Correct.
Well, for ACTT, currently we will be in operation from the 20th. And subsequent to that, it will be every second and fourth Friday. Yes, initially.
Okay.
Right.
And as time progresses, we will, depending on the traffic, expand the services and have persons here more regularly.
And for the National Training Agency, we maintain staff here so that anyone could, we have capable staff in the body of Ms. Anisha Carruth-Walcott. So she is our senior coordinator for Tobago. So anyone could walk off the street and enter our office. We have staff who will be able to assist.
I want to talk a little bit quickly, just because we have the time. Office etiquette. Customer service is one of the things that we complain about. You walk into an office, a secretary is there filing her nails. You walk in and she's not paying attention. And she's, good morning. Oh, hold on now. Okay, you want to see her filing her nails. Or she on the phone. No,
Yes.
Let's speak to that. That is so critical. So when, let's say that they are, applying to be secretaries and what have you, and they are not trained. They just was hired off the street. How important it is for customer service reps to be trained with the etiquette that is required for proper public service tell me.
It's absolutely critical. The business suffers, the work suffers if it is that we alienate our clients, right? So that for us, we have built that into our metrics for performance. So it's one of those things that you can be reprimanded, it's going to be reflected in how you advance within the organization because it's critical, right? Because especially for the TVET space where many of our stakeholders may not have that, and I put in quotation, polish, because it's persons who are looking for second and third choices and chances in life. So they'll come as they are, straight off of work, a little bit grimy and dusty from masonry, that coming to find out how to improve their life. And we have to be able to engage them as equally as if it is that someone comes as daftily dressed as yourself and engage us. So it's a built-in mechanism for us in terms of performance.
Lastly, dress. Let's say the very secretary
Yes.
is wearing a shorts or a short skirt that she can't pick up a pencil. And that is style with the heels. We call it the pumps.
The pumps.
And, I'm saying this light aspect of it because it's real. You go into an office and there's that type of person who doesn't understand office attire is not going to a party. That too is part of the training, my good friend, and he's looking at me very seriously because he knows this is probably came up already in a conversation.
It's the reality, but I can say, that we have not had that experience because we screen our persons very carefully and we abide by our, in the same way we expect quality from our institutions, we ourselves, demonstrate quality by our interactions with our stakeholders, by the way we attire ourselves. And there are times when you would have, of course, young persons who would need to have some sort of training, as the case may be. And we have our protocol persons who provide training for our staff from time to time.
Very good.
Yes.
Anything else just to reinforce this opening and the availability, just the platforms again, as we get ready to close?
Just to say that we are willing and able to support persons as they try to advance themselves, whether it is the stakeholders, the training institutions, or the beneficiaries of the training providers. Reach out to us. We are here to serve. Luckily, we have the signage is up front, so anybody passing along the streets could see us. But it's easy to find us as the National Training Agency on any of the social media platforms.
Very good.
And I just want to reiterate, particularly those students pursuing post-secondary and tertiary education, check ACTT first. Our website is actt.org.tt, and you can avail yourself of any of our services online.
Very good. And of course, you can walk in as
Yes,
well
definitely.
at the Coliseum building. And of course, very, very, very informative. I really like this conversation, and there's so much more to talk about.
thank you very
However,
much.
we want to thank you all for being here, and we wish you the best. Yeah.
Thank you very
All right.
much.
At this point in time, we go for a break, and when we come back, we speak to Dr. Batson and health.